All right, so hopefully the mom that posted this doesn't mind me showing their baby in my class. But perfect example of a perfectly cooing baby. Like made a lot of different kinds of sounds, was interacting with the environment even though clearly can't talk. Just a really great example of a cooing baby. All right. Then there is what we call reduplicated babbling. Reduplicated means that they're like in a cycle where they keep making the same babble sound over and over again. This tends to be common in babies between 4 and 10 months of age. And you'll oftentimes see it in the form of them saying things like mama, 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 ga, 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 ga. Like really, they're like stuck in a loop. They might just do it 3 or 4 times. They might do it over and over and over again. So it could be ma, ma, ma. It could be ma 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 ma. It could be a lot. It could be a little bit. But the idea is it's those same consonant vowels reduplicated over and over, at least a couple of times. Again, it's really super important to remember that during this stage, the baby doesn't mean anything by this babble. They're just playing with the speech sounds. So you're going to hear a lot of noises that might sound like the beginnings of a word that you might recognize. Ma, 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 da, 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 da. And you're like, oh, I think they're saying our name. And honestly, they're not. When it's in that kind of a chain like that, they're just exploring the speech sounds and, practicing with these consonant vowel alternations. Cooing and reduplicated babbling emerge at about the same time in babies all around the world, and babies all around the world make the same sounds during these phases. So it doesn't matter what sounds are surrounding them, what the language is that's surrounding them, you would not be able to tell the difference in these speech sounds that are being emitted by a baby who was exposed to English or one that was exposed to that language that I couldn't spell that started with the exclamation point or, rotakas, or it wouldn't matter what they're ultimately going to speak or what the people around them are saying. They're making the same basic sounds, which really shows you that they're exploring with the speech sounds. They're not attempting to talk. They're just kind of working their vocal tract. With non-reduplicated babbling, now you're going to start to see them shifting into saying things that might mean something. We might start to see the emergence of jargon during this phase. So in non-reduplicated babbling, now we hear mama, dada, wawa, baba. Why do so many of them have the same consonant sound? I don't know. They might have jargony things like banky for their blanket, or my daughter had a kid who she babysat who called his yellow blanket his leloli. Leloli, leloli. She loved that. She called everything that was yellow was leloli from after babysitting him. And she was a full-fledged, 18-year-old when she was doing that. Anyway, so non-reduplicated babbling, now we're starting to move into some of the sounds that they're emitting are intended to mean something. And it's called jargon because they're using an incorrect term. They're either pronouncing it wrong or they're misapplying a word. Like my grandson, who is 15 months old, calls all dogs Bayi. Bayi, because his dog's name is Bailey. And so his version of how to say Bailey is the name for all dogs. So he's mispronouncing Bailey, let alone calling all dogs Bailey. So right now for him, all dogs are Baileys. And honestly, all dogs are Bayis. Bayi. He's kind of like this, he's all jargon. So he calls juice Zeus. He calls this dis. He's like, all of them sound kind of close too. And so you really have to struggle to figure out which jargony word is referring to what object in the world. It's quite challenging. But that's what, the great thing about them is that they don't just say these words. They use the context, the intonation, gestures, and other things to help us to understand what they're trying to say. All right, I have this nice video that again pulled off the internet, baby's first telephone conversation, which this baby is the greatest non-reduplicated babbler I've ever heard, because one of the things she's doing is she has learned that the language has a certain cadence. So even though she doesn't know what words to say, she's speaking in that cadence that makes it seem like she's saying actual words. So watch this video and you'll see what I mean by that. So enjoy that.